The sun had barely begun to rise over Prince George's County, Maryland, but the streets of Briarwood Estates, one of the richest, predominantly black neighborhoods in the entire United States, were already glowing with the quiet elegance that defined the community. Towering brick homes, manicured lawns, and winding roads whispered a simple truth: black excellence lives here. But not everybody believed that, and one man was about to learn that the hard way. Blue and red lights exploded behind Jaden Carr's sleek black Mercedes as he drove down his own street. His heart dropped. Again? Seriously? He wasn't speeding. He wasn't swerving. He literally lived less than 200 feet from where the police SUV flashed its lights. Jaden sighed deeply, pulling over with the tiredness of a man who'd had this experience far too many times. The officer stepped out, adjusting his belt, the smugness practically dripping off him. This one felt different. Dangerous, even. The officer tapped his flashlight against Jaden's window. "License and registration," he ordered coldly. "And tell me, what brings you to this neighborhood?" Jaden blinked. "What?" The officer leaned in closer, narrowing his eyes. "You don't look like you belong here." The words sliced through Jaden like a blade. No matter how many degrees he earned, how many promotions he secured, or how hard he worked, someone always found a way to remind him what they saw first: his skin. Jaden handed over his ID quietly, anger boiling beneath his calm expression. "You sure this is your address?" the officer asked with a smirk, staring at the license longer than necessary. Jaden clenched his jaw. The officer laughed under his breath. "You know what? Step out of the car." Jaden's stomach twisted. Another humiliation, another moment stolen, another reminder that, to some people, black success was a threat. But in a few days, everything about this moment would come crashing back in ways nobody could have predicted, especially the officer who thought he had power. To the world, 28-year-old Jaden Carr was everything a young black man could aspire to be: a rising star software engineer, a homeowner in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in the nation, known for kindness, humility, and calm under pressure. But what the outside world didn't see was the weight he carried. Every early morning he'd wake up to jog around the neighborhood, only to be stopped by security patrols asking who he was. Every time he drove home at night, someone would peek through blinds, suspicious. Every time he held his own keys, someone asked who he was visiting. Wealth didn't erase the discomfort. Success didn't erase the burden. Respect didn't erase the reality. His grandmother used to say, "No matter where you go, baby, they'll try to tell you who you are, but don't you ever let them be right." He lived by that. He tried to. But moments like this, being pulled over in his own neighborhood, made him wonder how much more he was expected to tolerate. The officer kept his flashlight trained on Jaden's face. "You heard me," he snapped. "Step out." Jaden slowly unbuckled. "Officer, may I ask why?" "Don't talk back." The officer's jaw tightened. "Out, now." Jaden stepped out of the car. "Hands behind your head." Jaden froze. "What? Why?" "Because you look suspicious," the officer barked. His neighbor's lights started turning on. Curtains shifted. People peeked out. A grown black man being humiliated on his own street. Jaden felt something inside him collapse. And yet, he stayed calm. Polite. Respectful. Because he knew the stakes. Before we continue this story, tell us where you're watching from in the comments below. We'd love to know. The officer's name, unknown to Jaden at the moment, was Officer Dalton Reeves. A man with a reputation. A man who believed every stereotype he'd ever been fed. A man who decided, before even seeing the license, that Jayden didn't belong here. He patted Jayden down aggressively, searching for something, anything, to justify the stop. Drugs. Weapons. A reason to escalate. But there was nothing. Still, Reeves smirked. He was enjoying this. You know, guys like you should stick to your side of town. Would make things easier for all of us. Jayden felt his heart pounding. Officer, I live here. Sure you do, Reeves muttered. This neighborhood costs money, son. A lot. You expecting me to believe you afford this? That word, son, it stung every time. I have a job, Jayden whispered. Reeves scoffed. Doing what? Rapping? Selling something? Jayden swallowed his anger so hard he could taste blood. He said calmly, I am a senior software engineer. Reeves laughed out loud. You, in tech. Right, try again. Jayden looked directly at him. I work for Broadlink Technologies. I lead my team. Reeves rolled his eyes, clearly annoyed that Jayden wasn't fitting the stereotype he wanted. That's so. Then maybe you can explain how your fancy car here isn't stolen. Jayden's stomach twisted. Stolen? Officer, I have the— Shut up. Reeves walked around the car slowly, circling like a predator. You know how many times we get cases like this? Guys from the inner city come in, drive around homes worth millions hoping to pick one off. I know your type. You don't know anything about me, Jayden said softly. Reeves froze, his eyes darkened. Oh, I know enough. Jayden had worked since he was a teenager, full scholarships, double major, coding boot camps, internships that turned into jobs no one expected him to get. He fought every battle quietly. Even after breaking into tech, he was always the only black man in the room. He learned to withstand the stares, the "you're surprisingly articulate" comments, the "you probably got hired for diversity" whispers. Every achievement felt earned twice. And now, standing on his own street being questioned about the legitimacy of his success, it felt like the world trying to strip him down again. Reeves leaned against the police car, spinning Jayden's ID between his fingers. You know, I should bring you in, he said casually, just to be safe. Jayden's eyes widened. Bring me in for what? Reeves shrugged. I'll think of something. At that moment, a voice cut through the air. Everything okay here, officer? Jayden turned. His neighbor, Mr. Hamilton, an older black man with gray hair and a silk robe, stood on his porch watching. The officer stiffened. Go back inside, sir, Reeves ordered. Mr. Hamilton ignored him. That's Jayden. He lives right there. He pointed directly at Jayden's house, a modern brick home with lights now flickering on thanks to the commotion. Reeves clenched his jaw. Jayden felt a rush of relief, but it didn't last. Sir, Reeves snapped, if you don't leave, I can detain you too. The arrogance in his voice echoed across the empty street. Mr. Hamilton shook his head. Boy, you picked the wrong neighborhood to try this nonsense. A few more neighbors stepped outside. 3, 4, 6, all watching, all witnesses. Reeves' confidence wavered for the first time, but instead of backing down, he doubled down. Fine, Reeves snapped. Both of you, back away from the vehicle. This is my property, Mr. Hamilton retorted, and that young man is my neighbor and a good one at that. I said back up, Reeves shouted, hand hovering over his taser. Jayden froze. This was turning dangerous. Officer, he said quietly, please. Reeves turned on him with burning hostility. You think because you have a fancy car and a nice address that you get to tell me how to do my job? No, Jaden whispered. I'm just... Save it. Reeves stepped closer, his breath hot with anger. You should be grateful. I'm giving you a chance to walk away today. Jaden stared back, trembling slightly, but standing firm. I shouldn't have to be grateful, he said softly. I didn't do anything. Reeves' eyes narrowed to slits. That was it. That was the moment the officer snapped. Turn around, he barked. You're being detained. What? Several neighbors shouted at once. But Jaden didn't move. He was too stunned, too exhausted, too broken. You're detaining me for what? He asked. Reeves smirked. For existing where you shouldn't. The words felt like a punch. The neighbors gasped. Phones started coming out. Lights flashed as cameras recorded. Reeves didn't care. Not yet. He grabbed Jaden's wrist, and everything erupted. Hey, don't touch him, someone yelled. Mrs. Caldwell, from across the street, stormed down her driveway, housecoat flying behind her. That boy lives here! We all know him! Reeves didn't care. He pulled out handcuffs. Jaden felt a swell of humiliation so deep it nearly knocked the air out of him. He tried to keep his voice steady. Officer, I'm begging you, please don't do this. I work hard. I pay my taxes. I've never broken a law. Please. Reeves tightened his grip. That's what they all say. A voice called out from another porch. We're recording this! But Reeves didn't stop. He handcuffed Jaden right there on the sidewalk of the neighborhood he had worked his entire life to earn. People were shouting. Cameras were pointed. Jaden's heart shattered. Reeves shoved him toward the police car. This'll teach you to stay out of places you don't... Hey! Everyone turned. A woman in business attire, holding a laptop bag, stepped into the street. Jaden's older sister, Alani, in town to visit him. And she was furious. What on earth is happening? She demanded. Reeves turned, annoyed. Ma'am, step aside. This doesn't concern you. Oh, but it does, she stomped closer. That's my brother. And you're arresting him for what, exactly? Reeves stared at her, taken aback. You're related? Yes, she snapped. Now uncuff him. Reeves hesitated, but only for a moment. Then he laughed. Oh, now this is cute, a family reunion. Well, unless you can prove he belongs here, I can, she barked. She pointed to Jaden's house. That's his home, his mortgage, his deed. I helped him file the paperwork. Reeves went pale, barely. Ma'am, I still need to run a check. No, what you need to do, she said slowly, is stop abusing your authority. Neighbors murmured. Some applauded. Reeves looked increasingly uncomfortable. And yet, he held firm. Your brother looked suspicious, and his car doesn't match the profile of residents here. Profile, Alani repeated dangerously. What profile is that, officer? Reeves swallowed. Jaden watched from behind the cuffs, embarrassment burning through him, but also awe at his sister's fire. Alani stepped closer to the officer. Say it, she dared him. What profile? Reeves' jaw tightened. He didn't answer, because everyone already knew. Unbeknownst to Jaden, Reeves had a record. He'd been written up, twice, for unnecessary stops. Once, for an altercation with a young Latino boy in another wealthy neighborhood. Another time for harassing a black couple in a parking lot. Yet somehow he always avoided real consequences. A stern warning, a training refresher, a note in his file. Nothing that would truly stop him. He wasn't just arrogant. He was emboldened by a system that rarely held him accountable. And now, faced with Jaden's calm dignity and the growing crowd of wealthy black residents calling him out, his pride turned into pure hostility. "Look," Reeves hissed, "I don't care what you people think. I know what I saw, and he didn't belong." "You people!" Several neighbors gasped loudly. Reeves realized his mistake a second too late. Cameras zoomed in. Microphones from phone recording apps picked up every word. Alani's eyes widened. "Oh, you're done," she whispered. Reeves stepped back, clearly rattled. "I didn't mean—" "Too late," Mr. Hamilton said behind him. "We heard you loud and clear." Reeves' eyes darted around nervously. Jaden felt a strange shift in the air, like the dynamic had flipped. And Reeves could feel it too. For the first time, Reeves wasn't in control. The neighbors, successful business owners, doctors, lawyers, professors, formed a semicircle around him, recording, watching, judging. He held Jaden's ID again and read the address one more time. The realization hit him. He messed up badly. He uncuffed Jaden awkwardly. "Okay," he said stiffly. "Fine. You're free to go." No apology, no explanation. He started backing toward his car, ready to flee. But Alani wasn't done. "Oh no," she said. "You're not getting away with this. You put your hands on my brother. You threatened our neighbors. You publicly humiliated him." "Ma'am," Reeves barked, "I have authority. And we," Alani said sharply, "have lawyers." The crowd murmured in agreement. Reeves' face hardened. "This isn't over," he warned. "You're right," Alani said softly. "It's not." The officer climbed into his vehicle and sped off. The neighborhood watched silently as the car disappeared. Jaden rubbed his wrists, red from the handcuffs. His heart felt heavy, his dignity bruised, his spirit shaken. But something bigger was brewing. The neighbors gathered around him, offering support, comfort, outrage on his behalf. "You okay, son?" Mr. Hamilton asked gently. Jaden nodded weakly, but his eyes burned with a question he hated asking. "Why does this keep happening to me?" His sister hugged him tightly. "Because the world is broken, but you are not." Jaden exhaled deeply. This wasn't the end, not by a long shot. Something inside him had shifted, and for the first time in years, Jaden Carr felt a spark of courage ignite, a courage that would lead to a twist so powerful, so unexpected, and so satisfying that even the officer who humiliated him would never forget it. The next morning, Jaden stood in front of his bathroom mirror, staring at the faint red marks on his wrists. They weren't deep, but they were symbolic. A reminder, a warning, a scar only he could feel. He splashed cold water on his face and took a deep breath, steadying himself. Today was important. He had a major presentation at work, one that could change his entire career. If he nailed it, he'd become the youngest department lead ever appointed at Broadlink Technologies. But last night's incident sat like a stone in his chest. He checked his phone. 57 missed messages. 23 videos of the incident from neighbors. 4 invitations to speak to lawyers in the community. And one message that stood out. Alani. "Good morning. Don't forget, you deserve greatness today. Make me proud, little bro." He smiled faintly. She always knew what to say. He put on his suit, grabbed his laptop, and headed out. As he stepped toward his Mercedes, A familiar unease crept in. Would he be stopped again? Would someone question his right to exist here again? But no police were around. The street was calm. Too calm. He drove off. Broadlink Technologies was buzzing with energy. Screens blinked. Teams met. Deadlines approached. Jayden stepped out of the elevator and was immediately greeted by his colleague, Ryan Monroe, a white programmer who had always respected Jayden more than most. "Hey, man," Ryan said, frowning. "You okay? You look exhausted." Jayden forced a smile. "Rough night, but I'm good." "You sure?" "Yeah," Jayden said. "Ready for the big presentation." Ryan nodded. "Everyone's waiting. You're going to crush it." As they walked toward the conference room, whispers echoed through the hallways. "Is that the guy from the video? I saw it on Twitter. Bro, that was messed up. He handled it like a true professional." The video had gone viral overnight. Everyone at work had seen it. But instead of humiliation, Jayden felt something else. Support, respect, a strange sense of empowerment. He stepped into the conference room. Executives lined the large glass table. The CEO, Claudia Bennett, sat at the head, tapping her pen thoughtfully. "Good morning, everyone," Jayden said, clearing his throat. "Let's begin." And when he spoke, he was unstoppable, confident, clear, innovative, strong. Every word was sharp, every slide was powerful, every idea was transformative. The kind of presentation that rewrites careers. When he finished, the room was silent. Then Claudia leaned forward. "Jayden." Jayden held his breath. "That," she said slowly, "was the best strategic presentation I've heard in years." A few executives nodded fervently. Agreed. Outstanding work! Incredible leadership potential. Jayden felt his chest tighten. For once, people were seeing him. Not doubting him, not reducing him, seeing him. Ryan clapped him on the back. "Told you, man." Claudia stood. "Everyone, give us a moment," she said. The room emptied. She gestured for Jayden to sit. He sank into the chair, nervous again. "Jayden," Claudia said softly, "I saw the video of what happened to you last night." His heart dropped. "Ma'am, I didn't want that to overshadow—" "It didn't." Her voice was warm but firm. "It reminded me of something." She stared out the window. "That even our best employees, our most brilliant minds, face battles we don't always see." Jayden swallowed hard. "And it made me realize something else," she continued. "We need leaders who understand resilience, who understand injustice, who understand the importance of creating environments where people don't have to prove their worth at every turn." She turned to him. "Which is why, effective immediately, I'm promoting you to Director of Advanced Systems Engineering." Jayden froze. Director? That was 2 levels above him, a role that normally went to someone in their mid-40s, not 28. His voice cracked. "Ma'am, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," she smiled. Jayden exhaled shakily. "Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much." "You earned it," she said, standing. "Now go celebrate. You've had a hard week." She extended her hand. Jayden shook it. And for the first time in months, he felt truly seen. Officer Dalton Reeves walked into the precinct the next morning expecting things to be normal. They weren't. Every pair of eyes locked onto him, some filled with confusion, some with anger, some with disappointment. His supervisor, Lieutenant Harris, stormed toward him. "Reeves, my office, now!" Reeves stiffened. "What's going on?" Harris didn't answer. He slammed the door behind them. "What the hell did you do last night?" Reeves blinked innocently. "I made a routine stop." "That was not routine," Harris roared. "You handcuffed a homeowner in his own neighborhood. You threatened his residents. You told them they don't belong. And you let half the neighborhood record it." Reeves felt his stomach drop. "They were being confrontational," he muttered weakly. "No," Harris snapped. "They were being citizens, and you were being reckless." Reeves clenched his jaw. "This is all blown out of proportion. It has 3 million views online in 12 hours, Harris shouted. Reeves' face drained of color. 3 million, Harris continued. "The county board wants an investigation. The mayor's office called twice, and the police chief wants to speak to you personally." Reeves swallowed hard. "Sir, I didn't do anything wrong," he insisted. "Reeves," Harris said darkly, "you racially profiled a man who lives in one of the wealthiest black communities in America, and then you doubled down when they called you out." He paced angrily. "You could have apologized, backed down, de-escalated, but no, you escalated. You humiliated him, and you embarrassed this entire department." Reeves' voice cracked. "Sir, please." "Pack your things," Harris said. Reeves froze. "What?" "You're being placed on administrative suspension pending investigation." Reeves stumbled back as if he'd been struck. No, you can't do that." "You did this to yourself," Harris said sharply. "Now get out." Reeves stormed out of the office, slamming the door so hard the glass rattled. People watched him quietly, some whispering, some shaking their heads. A few recorded him on their phones. And for the first time in his career, Reeves felt powerless. 2 days later, Jaden sat in his living room answering messages from former classmates congratulating him on the big promotion. His life was changing faster than he could process. Suddenly, knock, knock, knock. He walked to the door and opened it, and froze. A news van, a camera crew, 2 microphones, and a reporter stepping forward. "Mr. Carr, good evening. We're from Channel 9 News. May we speak with you about the viral police incident?" Jaden's heart raced. I'm not sure." Alani appeared behind him. "We can speak," she said confidently. The cameras rolled. Microphones lifted. "Mr. Carr, how did it feel being handcuffed for simply driving home?" Jaden breathed quietly, choosing his words with care. "It felt like no matter how far I go, someone always wants to drag me back to a place I worked hard to rise above." The reporter nodded sympathetically. "And what message do you want people to take from this?" Jaden looked directly into the camera. That dignity shouldn't be a luxury, that respect shouldn't depend on your skin color, and that belonging isn't something someone else gets to decide for you. The reporter smiled. "Thank you, Mr. Carr." They turned to leave, but something unexpected happened. The neighbors began gathering, one by one, 23 in total, holding signs. "We stand with Jaden," "Justice for our neighbor," "End racial profiling." The reporter turned back, stunned. This is powerful." Jaden looked around, overwhelmed. He wasn't alone. He had a community behind him, a wealthy, educated, influential community. This wasn't just a story anymore. This was a movement. Later that evening, the county held an emergency town hall meeting, live-streamed to thousands. Jaden attended with his sister. Reeves attended with his lawyer. The tension was suffocating. The mayor entered. "We are here to address the actions of Officer Dalton Reeves," she announced. Reeves folded his arms proudly. A mistake. The mayor looked at him sternly. "Officer Reeves, after reviewing the footage, testimonies, and your history of complaints," the room was silent, "we have unanimously decided to terminate your employment with the Prince George's County Police Department effective immediately." Reeves jolted upright. "What? You can't—" "Your badge," the mayor said coolly. "Now." Reeves's face twisted with disbelief. "This isn't fair. He aggravated the situation. Those people, those rich people." The mayor raised a hand. "Officer Reeves, you were not fired because your victims were wealthy." She leaned closer. "You were fired because you were wrong." Security approached. Reeves backed away. No, this is insane. I'm a good cop. I'm a good cop." But nobody moved to defend him. Nobody stopped the officers from escorting him out. And as he passed by Jaden, the two locked eyes. Reeves' voice dropped to a bitter whisper. "This isn't over." But Jaden didn't flinch. He stared calmly. "It is." Reeves was dragged out, shouting obscenities all the way. Justice had arrived. Not violently, not vengefully, but firmly and publicly. A week later, Broadlink hosted a company-wide town hall to announce new diversity and safety initiatives, inspired in part by Jaden's experience. Claudia called him on stage to speak. He walked to the podium, adjusting the microphone with trembling hands. "Thank you," he began quietly. "These last few days have been overwhelming, but I learned something." He scanned the crowd. "I learned that success doesn't protect you, but community does. I learned that silence is expensive, but speaking up is powerful. And I learned that no matter what someone tries to take from you, your worth is not up for negotiation." The room applauded. Claudia handed him a plaque. Leadership Award for Courage and Integrity. Tears stung his eyes. Later, returning home from the event, he stood at his driveway. Neighbors waved from afar. Kids on bikes passed by. Mr. Hamilton raised his hand in greeting. Mrs. Caldwell sent over a warm smile. For the first time since moving to Briarwood Estates, Jaden felt something he had been deprived of for so long. Not wealth, not recognition, not validation. Belonging. If you want more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our videos. Thanks for watching.